The 1991 Halloween blizzard. A storm that has cemented itself into Minnesota history.
It's like before the Halloween blizzard or after the Halloween blizzard?
Mabel Houle and her daughter Amy remember that day well.
30 years ago, October 31st, 1991, we were living in Forest Lake. And if I remember correctly, I think you were going as a princess.
It was.
That was the day they took this home video of trick-or-treaters on Halloween night.
Birdman.
And what their snow-covered neighborhood looked like the next day.
Out in the snow with my dog.
November 1st, 1991.
That's me.
The most snow we've received in 24 hours.
It's hard to believe it's 30 years ago.
30 years ago, before cell phones and before advanced computer forecasting.
It looked like it was going to be a cold rain to us.
In late October of 1991, Todd Krause was working as a forecaster at the National Weather Service at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport.
I was actually on the forecast desk on October 30th.
He said at the time it looked like the temperature would stay in the high 30s, and they forecasted for 2 inches of rain.
And about 3 in the afternoon, the first precipitation started falling as snow. And that told me as a meteorologist that it was going to start as snow and it was going to stay as snow. I actually said to a relative that I was with at the time, we could get 2 feet of snow out of this.
From the afternoon of October 31st into the next day, the Twin Cities Metro received more than 2 feet, around 28 inches of snow. At the time, a new state record that forced people to stay indoors for days.
It was just astounding to see that much snow.
In a 1991 newsletter, the Minnesota Department of Transportation called it a megastorm that created a mega nightmare. The department highlighted MnDOT heroes that emerged during the storm, clearing the roads and assisting emergency vehicles, including a crew out of Mankato that included Jed Falgren. They plowed the way for a telephone company to reconnect vital communication lines.
That was one of the first calls that we got to say, hey, we've got to get this crew. The answer can't be no, we can't get to Good Thunder for a couple of days. We had to get to Good Thunder. We had a big V-plow on the front of the truck, and we were able to plow a pathway to get them there.
Jed was a young construction manager at the time who went out with plow crews on November 1st to learn more about how plowing was done.
When you stepped into that plow on the 1st, November 1st, did you have any idea what you were getting into?
I had no idea. I actually thought it'd be, maybe 3-4 hours and we'll see what it looks like and get a chance to see it.
He was out for hours, plowing the way for emergency crews and helping stranded drivers on a rural highway outside of Mankato.
We had well over 100 motorists out there that were stranded. They could not make it anywhere. There were times where I was a little bit nervous. There were moments that, that level of adrenaline that kicks in.
With so many roads impassable, others stepped up to help stranded drivers too.
It just came on so suddenly it caught everybody off guard.
Chris Purcell was a young tow truck driver at the time.
This was actually my personal pickup that I was using during that storm back then.
On Halloween night, he braved the elements, pulling and pushing the few cars that were out on the road.
I'd still be hooking up to one vehicle and I'd have somebody walking down the street coming up and, hey, can you come see me next? I need help too. And that's pretty much how it went. Before I knew it, I'd been out for over 12 hours just helping pull people and push people that were stuck.
Chris has been towing ever since, and 30 years later says the Halloween storm is still iconic.
I've been doing this for 34 years, and that still stands out.
Even then, the storm immediately became a badge of honor, a catchy T-shirt slogan.
They made T-shirts and everything when this happened, and the T-shirt read, "I survived the blizzard of 1991," and I'm like, I can do better than that. I gave birth on that day, and everyone's like, wow, no way.
Halloween morning 1991, Lisa Winters went into labor and was heading to Midway Hospital in St. Paul.
At the time, there was still no snow on the ground, but you could kind of just see light flurries in the sky.
That evening, she delivered a healthy baby boy, not paying attention to what was going on outside her hospital room.
Somebody said, get up and look out the window. And so I got up and kind of stumbled over to the window, and I was like, everything was buried. There was cars. It was a street with parking, and every single one of the cars was buried. There was people out there in their shovels. Even our families couldn't get there to visit because of the snow.
One of the nurses in the maternity ward,
I have a picture of that actually, of her with us and Cameron,
was by Lisa's side, stuck at the hospital for 3 days straight.
She was just absolutely phenomenal. You'd never know she'd been there for 3 days away from her family.
This year, Lisa's son Cameron turns 30 and is living in California.
He had his fill of snow on the day he was born, so then he moved to California. He'd had enough.
That's right. Worth a lifetime there.
For many, the storm has created a lifetime of stories that have become a running joke among Minnesotans, poking fun at our obsession for all things weather.
I love Minnesota.
But the storm has had real, lasting impact.
I don't think I have gone through a winter preparation process or any type of winter storm conversations and not talked about the Halloween storm.
After the Halloween blizzard, MnDOT started installing these plows under all their trucks instead of out front because the few they had at the time worked so well during the storm.
So that is a tool that has been standard across our fleet since that time.
The 1991 Halloween blizzard also holds the record in the metro for the biggest snowfall in a single storm. And regardless of the record books.
And your fancy 1991 jacket.
Look at that, I was styling.
You were styling.
It's still one of the most talked about events in Minnesota history.
Oh, totally. It's like a life marker. I mean, it's like the really important things that have happened that you can recall.
This is a Minnesota one.
This is the Minnesota blizzard, the Halloween blizzard.
Hannah Flood.
Where were you during the Halloween blizzard?
Fox 9.